You know, you can't stop this stuff taking place. It's just so fast and so energetic.
Thank you. Justin?
Yes, CAB's excellent idea. And of course there are various NGOs who've been trying to do this kind of thing, or active in this kind of trying to show people their legal rights. Doing it by radio would also be an excellent idea. And like John, while I can see the problems of the FM radio stations that have sprung up in recent years, I also think they're a vibrant and exciting space with lots of possibilities for this kind of thing. And some of them are, you know, quite socially responsible. So there are lots of possibilities for this. This actually rather neatly links into a question someone was asking about terrorism, because of course one of the people who's been involved in recent years in an NGO which has been trying to do human rights work is Alameen Kimathi, who at this moment is in prison in Uganda on terrorism charges. So there's been a bit of devolution of detention of there. So that stuff is good, but still you have to think, okay, how do you make this work on the ground? I mean, people have been doing it, but there needs to be more of it, because even though people have been doing it, for example, last time I was in Kenya, which was in July, I met somebody I've known for a good number of years who had just spent a night in Central Police Station, having been arrested by City Councillor Scaris for resting his foot on a rail in town, which apparently is an offence under a bylaw, according to the City Councillor Scaris. How do you empower people to challenge that kind of thing? How do you make it so they don't get put in the back of the lorry by the Ascaris, taken off to the police station, have their mobile phone taken away so they can't make a call, held all night, and then have all their money stolen and be released in the morning? You know, that is a really significant part of the challenge. How do you spread the knowledge that will stop that from happening?
Thank you very much indeed. I think really we have time for just one more very quick round. I'd like to ask the lady right at the back under the clock, and the other gentleman just there right under the air conditioning, and the lady in front of him in the back row. So, please, quick questions lending themselves to a short discussion before we wind up.
Hi, my name is Parvisha. My question is to the professor. What does he think about the legalization of Changa and the effects it would have on society in Kenya? Thanks.
Okay, and gentleman at the back, and then the lady in front of him over there, under the air conditioning vent.
My name is Lillian Mwendo, and I'm a reporter with the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. And my main concern is one, which I believe is also the main concern of Kenyans when they watch this story tomorrow. And it's the pace of the implementation of this constitution. Given that during the campaigns, we had this group of people who were not red, they were not green, we call them watermelon. And they're well known. So outside, okay, they said yes, but deep inside them, they knew the were for no due to their personal interests. And an example is the landowners, people in Kenya who own big chunks of land. And they're very influential people, and we know them, and they're in government. And they're the people who are supposed to be involved in the implementation of the Constitution. So, do you think the pace of the implementation of this Constitution will be as expected in Kenya, given that in the agenda item
That's
number
the question,
4...
is it?
Yes, yes,
right,
yes.
Thank you. Could you hand the mic to the gentleman 2 rows back who's standing up? Thank you.
Thanks. Dominic Burbage, a student. A question for Mr. Githongo, just that you mentioned that the vibrancy of Kenya lies a lot in its youth, and especially in the urban areas where new identities are developing. I was just wondering what you thought about whether the Constitution will have an impact on the access of youth to politics, not to civil society, but to politics.
Thanks very much. John.
Thank you. I think that we all anticipate that there will be a major counter-reform initiative that is going to be embarked upon by those who, by the vested interests, the ones that we call the watermelons, who are actually no but voted yes. And we need to ask ourselves why the watermelons voted yes. We say watermelons because during the referendum, the color for those who were supporting the constitution, those who were saying yes was green, those who were saying no was red. However, there were those who were green on the outside but red on the inside. So we call it watermelon. I think that's what she means, and it's true. We had a lot of watermelons, particularly amongst those who have benefited from the old constitutional order. But I asked myself, and of course we were very concerned about the kind of manipulations they would get up to as we came up to the referendum itself, and what they are going to do now, and what they've already started to do now. But again, I don't want to sound like the eternal naive optimist. I find it interesting that these watermelons were forced to vote yes. Why did they go to? They should have, because inside the watermelon, the green is a very thin. Majority of the watermelon is red inside, but they were forced to vote yes, and partly it was as a result of reading the mood of ordinary Kenyans on the ground as they went around, and they said, "Now this thing is difficult for us." So. It is, in a sense, up to us Kenyans, to civil society, to all the various ways that we can do it, to maintain that kind of pressure. Otherwise, they will continue to try and interrupt the implementation of this constitution. Now, as I said, about 16 pieces of legislation passed the next one. Some of them absolutely key to do with judges and the vetting of judges, changing the Chief Justice, Attorney General, EPP, etc. All this has to happen fairly quickly, but they read the mood, and the mood was ugly for those who were opposed. And I think that that shows that there's a sensitivity there that we can take advantage of. It's not always going to be easy, and we have to be creative in doing it. Dominic asked about the vibrancy of youth and the access of youth to politics. I think that is something that is going to become critical now, especially as we talk about devolution and the different levels of government that are going to come about. There's a sense of, as I said, organic empowerment of youth that took place in a rather negative way during the post-election violence. But when one listens, and this is to local radio stations, and one of the beauties of Kenya is that we have very powerful, robust FM radio, SMS platforms, internet platforms, and companies that are able to do the monitoring of all these platforms and what the youth are saying and thinking. And the push is very much for change. Before coming to the UK, I was on 2 local youth radio stations, mainly serving Nairobi urban slum dwellers between the ages of 16 and 25. And you know, I couldn't keep up with the amount of energy they had in terms of, it says, you know, can you please confirm to us that a policeman cannot arrest me without saying, please, sir? You know? Now, I'll be honest. At that time, I hadn't read the provision correctly. But people are pushing back, and the challenge is to keep the debate going and that kind of energy that is there at the grassroots, at this devolved level going. A lot of the resources that have gone into building up youth organizations and youth entities that give empowerment to the youth. A lot of the resources have gone to national level organizations. In truth, as I said, devolution has happened already. It's with these local radio stations across the country. It's with groups that are across the country. And they're all devolved, they're all in the little urban centers. That's simply the reality of Kenya. And these networks are extremely